So many great real world situations. In this one, we have water level of a lake that rose 1 and 25 feet after it rained. Now again, think about what we learned before. Sea level was at that 0 line, but when it rains, the water level rises. That does not mean the 0 rises with it. That 0, that level, still maintains. That is the level. And when the water rises, it goes above the natural sea level. And what we're going to do is we're going to answer the following questions based on our vertical number line here on the bottom, on the right side. All right, let's start off. First, we're going to write a rational number to represent the situation. So how can we represent 1 and 25 hundredths? And it rose. So in that context, in relation to 0, what does that mean? It would be a positive or a negative. Would it be above the 0 or below the 0? Well, it would be above. So I'm going to represent it as positive 1 and 25 hundredths because the water rose above sea level. So that's the first part I'm going to do. Let's go to the next one. What two integers is 1 and 25 hundredths between? So we did something like this before. Remember, it had been a while where we tried to think this would be between two numbers. And the first one is pretty easy. It would be 1. And now you just have to think, is 1 and 25 hundredths between 1 and 2 or between 0 and 1? Because it has to be consecutive. Remember, it has to be two numbers that are back to back. So does it make sense for 1 and 25 hundredths to be between 0 and 1? No, because it is definitely more than 1. So it is between 1 and 2. So I'm going to write that as a full sentence. 1 and 25 hundredths is between 1 and 2. All right, let's go to the next problem. We're going to write the length of each segment on the number line. Ooh, and this time they want it as a decimal and a fraction. Okay. So we're going to write the length of each segment on that line as a decimal and a fraction. So I have 1 and 25 hundredths already as a decimal. So remember how we changed this to a fraction? We just say the name. 1 and 25 hundredths is the same as 1 and 25 over 100. So that's pretty easy. We just have to now simplify our fraction. And 25 and 100, I can just tell that the common factor is 25. So 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. So I get 1 and 1/4. So I'm going to write those two numbers down. And let's look at our number line right over here and try to figure out where would 1 and 1/4 be, or 1 and 25 hundredths. Think about your scale. So again, I'm going to kind of highlight this. This part kind of like a little box. I could make that a little smoother. Oops. There we go. Okay. And if I'm looking at my box, my fraction bar, what fraction do I see represented? Well, my bar is broken up into 4 pieces. So I know each of these is 1/4. So that is going to help me figure out the scale. The scale of just 1/4. Okay. So pencils have erasers. So I'm going to erase this part up here now. And I know that each of these is 1/4. Or how would I say that's a decimal? 1/25. So I'm going to write those in. Here's 1/4. Writing it super tiny. And here's 1/2. This would be 3/4. I know that this one is 1. And this would be 1 1/4 right over here. So I'm gonna make a dash. This would be 1 1/4, or as a decimal, 1 25/100. I've labeled it. It looks beautiful and amazing. Wanted to make sure I had both of them written down. All right, so let's go to the next part. You see how I really love my visuals? My visuals just help me to see things, especially scale. By drawing out that fraction bar from 0 to 1, we can figure out the scale pretty easily when we have fractional numbers. Okay, here's the next one. What will be the water level after it rained? What will be the water level after it rained? Graph the points on the number line. Well, after it rained, it reached 1 25/100. It rose up. So I know that this is where the water goes up to. Goes up to 1 25/100. And we graphed it. Okay. Last part. We are almost there. I'm just going to write C graph. After 2 weeks have passed, the water level of the lake is now the opposite of the water level when it rained. So I want the opposite. What will the new water level be? And I want to graph that point. So we know how to do this, Math Marbles. We're just talking distance. We know that 1 25/100, that's the distance, 1 25/100. I'm thinking about its absolute value. So what if I want another distance of 1 25/100 below 0? Same distance. It would be here at, here's 1, and I know the next part is 25/100. So here we go. It will be at negative 1 25/100. So let's write this down so we have it. The opposite of 1 25 is negative 1 25/100. There we go. We've already marked it, and let's explain how we knew our answer. The distance of both are the same. They have an absolute value of 1 25/100. The opposite value is 1 25/100 below 0. And we're going to stop right there so you can jot this down into your notes as well. This one was actually a lot of fun because I did a lot of great thinking and a lot of my visuals. Anytime I'm talking about real world situations, visuals really help me. So if you're like me and you need the visuals, don't be afraid to draw those out. And we use your pencil. So if anything, you could always erase if you need to see what's there. And as always, anytime we're talking about distance, you can use absolute value to figure that out and find those opposites. Jot this down in your notes, and I will see you in the next lesson, Math Marbles. Take care.